without masks, and precautions are still in place, but it feels like perhaps we're starting to return to normal in terms of pre-COVID court experiences. Tell me, Jamie, what your thoughts are. Do you think that we're headed in the direction of returning to normal full court calendars and trials without as many precautions?
I suspect that a lot of the precautions are going to be dropped, in the relatively near future, at least here in Michigan where I practice. But I can tell you, our Supreme Court administrator just issued an edict yesterday, highly suggesting that local courts continue to utilize Zoom, for all sorts of reasons, everything from cost effectiveness to proficiency and access to courts and so on. So I think the pandemic has had a permanent effect on the courts, not only in states, but, federally as well. How it all plays out over time, I think we're going to see a slew of first impression appeals as these convictions start to come across as a result of COVID. A lot of speedy trial challenges and everything associated with the way that time could affect a case. I think they're going to be throwing it at the wall and seeing what sticks. So the pandemic is going to have a long-lasting effect on the court system. I think a lot of it is going to be for good. But to your original question, I do think we're going to see courts going back to normal. I personally would never in a million years want to try a murder case under the conditions that people have been doing it over the last few months, not being able to see jurors' faces and not being able to stand up and address them. Part of prosecuting a case is being able to relate to a jury, and it's very difficult to do sitting down at a table with a mask on.
Yeah, absolutely. And I agree. If you can't see the jurors' faces or the defendant's face, I do think that that is something we might see on appeal. But I have to ask your opinion while I have you and your thoughts and can pick your brain about Zoom, because as a judge, when I fill in, I still do hearings by Zoom, in part because of the Georgia Supreme Court order here in Georgia. And I must say that there have been some real benefits. I'll give you an example. Parents' involvement in hearings has increased because it's easier for them to participate. The number of children participating in hearings has increased for the same reason. So with the right precautions in place via Zoom or other virtual means, and with the right caveats in terms of nobody has any objections to that, I think it's a very good thing to take forward and move the ball forward and have certain types of hearings via virtual means. As a trial attorney, do you think that that's a reasonable thing to do moving forward?
Absolutely. I mean, there are going to be kinks, right? I think part of the reason technology is not advanced in the court system as compared to other sectors is because of the reluctance on practitioners and courts to make the change. But the force of the last year has created an opportunity. And I think that if courts and practitioners look at it as an opportunity, we'll continue to get better at it. And the benefits are clearly there. I know there was those days, I think those days of 20 lawyers lining up in a hallway to wait to talk to a prosecutor for 10 minutes are over. I don't think we're going to see those again. At least I hope not. For the client's sake. Everybody's billing 3 hours for 10 minutes of work of sitting in a hallway waiting to talk to a prosecutor. It's pretty unreasonable, in my opinion.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with you. There's some benefits to that, and take away the commute time for so many attorneys, and they can have the hearings from their own office versus commuting